Holy shit! What the fuck?
I screwed that all up.
Whoa.
How's it going, everyone? How's it going?
Dude.
Sorry.
Now I feel like we haven't gotten our money's worth out of our stinger.
I know, right? So
you
we
know,
go back and re-sting?
Yeah.
Yes, let's re-sting. Here we go, people. Re-sting.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the amazingly perfect beginning of this new Between Realities episode. My name is Alex VR. I am joined here by my co-host, Skiva. Skiva, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm hoping you're not going to fire me after the show again.
Absolutely not. I fired him once before, realized they made him. Well, you said again. So
yeah,
I'm just playing off of that.
Pretty much every show.
Yeah, I fire him every week. Which, by the way, that implies that I'm like the boss Between Realities, which makes me feel pretty good.
Fire each other.
Yeah, you can't fire me. Fire me.
You're fired. No, you're fired.
Oh God. Well, anyway, hello everybody. Thanks for being here. An absolute pleasure. Happy Friday. All that bullshit. German Rifter first in the chat like yesterday. You guys are just like getting earlier and earlier with these first in the chats kind of shit going on. But it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. What the fuck was that?
I don't know.
Oh my God. Okay, so anyway, German Rifter, what's up, dude? Oh man, great to see you. Sweaty Nugget JJ. He's the Between Realities family. Always a pleasure to have Sweaty Nugget JJ here with us. We've got Mike Newton, Mr. Trinidad. We already know what Mr. Trinidad's up to. Aaron Summers, the dude. How's it going, man? Thanks for being here. Joachim, Alt VR, catching an episode live. What's up, Joachim? Bro, get back on our show next season, maybe, as soon as possible, so we can do this lucid dreaming talk. Because that is some serious shit. I might even bring that up on the show today. Who knows? Jansen Fox, how's it going, man? Thanks for being here. Ooh, Mystics is here. How's it going, Mystics? We've got Tones My Bones. Oh, man, John Westra. He set I saw he was here earlier. He set the notification. By the way, John Westra, teach us your secrets with this verified tag. Like, what's going on? Like, make us verified, you know? Like, introduce us to your people. We've got Ashley here talking about some UFOs already. We've got Bradley John Eaglefeather. He's saying hi to Bobby. Wait, who's Bob? Oh wait, he's our guest today. I guess we'll talk to him in a second. Quicksilva's here. How's it going, Quicksilva? Dark Angel in the house. Sadly, it's Bradley, dude. What's up,
What's
man?
up, brother?
Croy VR's here, yo.
What's
Robin's
up?
Reality, yo. Paradise DK, yo.
Can't even handle it. All these
I know,
amazing
it's
people.
way too fucking cool. And we have a really cool guest with us today. I went on to our little description today, yes, was it today? Yeah, I guess it was today. And I was like, you know what, he's the bad boy of fucking VR journalism.
Yeah.
He really is. He's the bad boy of VR journalism, dude. He is involved in Ready Learner One. He's the executive producer of some shit at Ready Learner One. He's an amazing dude, awesome journalist, hilarious guy in the VR space. Please welcome to Between Realities, Mr. Bobby Carlton.
Hey. Hello. Hey, I'm here. Hello. I am the executive. Yes, I'm the executive of whatever at Ready Learner One. So
executive. So fix the title for me. You're executive director of immersive learning at Ready Learner One.
Yes, I'm executive director of immersive learning for Ready Learner One, as well as a writer for VR Scouts. I'm a consultant, an AR/VR consultant, a bunch of things. I'm a dad. I'm the guy who takes out the garbage, walk the dogs, you name it.
Yeah.
Take out the dirty dishes, all of it.
Yep. You're an aspiring BMX X-Games qualifier, as I can see. I saw that clean ass tail whip yesterday, dude.
I'm gonna go pro. I'm pretty soon. I'm sure.
I think
you're
on your way.
It's gonna happen.
You are on your way, dude. Well, this is amazing. This is the first time that we've had a chance to engage like this since OC6. It feels like a million years ago now, which is crazy.
That was a long time ago. That's where I met you in San Jose, and I just remember going to these events, and you're like, "Hey, I'm Alex," and I was like, "Hey, Alex, what's going on?" But I was going through photos recently, and you're in a bunch of photos that
I was everywhere, man.
Know.
I was all over that bitch. What's up, Beanzo79? Thanks for joining us. I have like an awesome memory of conversing with you at that like little art museum where they did that event. What was that?
That's right. That was FXG was hosting that event. That was like Nick Mitchell and Max Noir were doing a thing with Nreal glasses.
Yep. And there was a bunch of panels going on there, and you were speaking on one of the panels, and I caught you just like as we were like rubbing elbows or shoulders. You rub elbows or shoulders?
I think rubbing elbows.
You rub elbows.
I was rubbing your elbow.
Yeah,
I remember rubbing your elbow.
He rubbed my elbow. I rubbed his elbow. Before we knew it, we knew each other, and here we are in the future.
It's a lot of friction,
dude. Amen. But not as enough as VR. Am I right? VR and that friction. Where's my cricket?
There you go.
I'm getting better with this thing.
You are.
Sound effect cue.
Yeah, I'm getting better with this thing.
I like that you cricket your own jokes. That's great.
I don't know. Thanks for calling it a joke.
Right. Well, I'm glad I'm the only one not making the dad jokes.
Yeah, right.
I
know. Nice change of pace for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
let's bring Steve into this conversation. So
cool.
I know, right?
Steve here?
Dude, I told you, it's a cardboard cutout over here. Yeah, we do need to do a meetup. Actually, Skiva and I think, are going to be in Vegas soon. We're going to go to Vegas on June 26th. We have a buddy of ours, Kyle Render, who is of the Field to Render Comedy Club that happens in Altspace, and he's doing a like simultaneous hybrid VR/real life stand-up comedy event where his comics are going to go on a real stage in front of a real audience, wearing a headset in front of a virtual audience and performing to both audiences at the exact same time. And
that's through like Chicken Waffles involved with that, right? Isn't that show through like produced by Chicken Waffle maybe? Yeah. I could be wrong.
Yeah, they are. Failed to Render is friends with Chicken Waffle. Chicken Waffle has done a lot to like create their virtual space and like design the clubs and
as well as like Avore, right? Arvory.
So Arvory isn't involved in it, but Kyle is such a huge fan of Pixel Ripped that he got Anna involved, and they recreated the Pixel Ripped like arcade space for a comedy club space. So you can actually go into the arcade that exists in Pixel Ripped 1995 in Altspace and watch stand-up comedy in there from real comics.
And it looks amazing, man. There's amazing arcade with all these cabinets everywhere, and you really feel like you're in the arcade from Pixel Rip 1995. I was super impressed.
Yeah.
It really looked great.
Have you guys been to Vegas before, or has it been one of those?
Yeah,
Vegas is a crazy time. I've been there.
We were just there like what, last month? 2 months ago?
I did a little bachelor event in Vegas.
Yes,
we did it.
The last time I was in Vegas, I got into a fist fight, which was just like a
what?
And
what really?
So, but it was like, so I as I told you guys earlier before the show, I was in this band, we were a touring band at one point, and we were on tour. We were in Vegas, and our tour manager, this guy Joe, who was a friend of ours, and he came along. His job was to kind of keep us on pace, and he wanted to go. This was like 3 a.m. We'd been drinking. He wanted to go to strip clubs, and I was like, I don't want to go to a strip club. I just want to go back to the hotel and get some sleep. And he was like, we're in Vegas. We should go to these things. And I was like, I don't want to go. And we got into a fight in front of those 2 dudes who have the lion show. They had the tiger show.
Siegfried and Roy.
Siegfried and Roy.
Yep.
So they had that big gold statue in front of in downtown Vegas. So we got into a fight in front of there.
Wow. So you actually got in a fist fight with your homie over going to a strip club in Vegas.
Right.
Wow.
And then he got mad and he walked away. And I went back to the hotel and woke up the next day and they're like, where's Joe? And I'm like, I don't know. We got into a fist fight. And he ended up on a bench sleeping. So Vegas is fun.
He wound up on a bench sleeping and you wound up on the floor sleeping? I hope not.
Dude, when we were in Vegas, we went to hop in this elevator and there was some guy sleeping in there. And we all kind of huddled. We all kind of, quietly went around him and took the elevator up and like quietly
and insensitively burst into laughter as a group when we got out of that elevator because we just could not believe the situation that we had found ourselves in.
Yeah. There were a lot of weird situations. Vegas is full of a lot of incredibly awkward and just crazy things.
It's insane. But we went there for CES last year.
Yeah.
And
last year, yeah.
Right before the world ended.
Yep. And I mean, when you're there for like an event like CES, I mean, you are immersed in that thing. Like I didn't feel like a typical Vegas experience when I went for a convention. I mean, were you in Vegas for like an event like that when you got into this tobacco?
I went to CES like not the last physical one, but the one before then. And yeah, it's crazy. It's just like there's all this stuff happening. You're getting bombarded with technology and and it's just overwhelming. People want to party, but at the same time, people want to pitch what they have, and it's crazy.
And there's so many people from out of town or out of country who have heard about Las Vegas and have never been there, maybe. And so, like, while they're there, they're like, "Hey, we're in Vegas. We're doing Vegas. God damn it!" So there's definitely plenty of opportunities for debauchery when you go to Vegas. But I guess it's easy to avoid if you like to. I guess is kind of where I was going with this.
Yeah, and we did avoid a lot of the weird opportunities that were
CES,
presented to us.
Not during my bachelor party.
No, during your bachelor party too. There was definitely things presented to us that were like, yeah, no.
Oh yeah, what did that guy run up and say to you guys?
He wanted us to come and have relations with midgets. He was going on about their little hands and how they make you look. It was weird, man. There is so much weirdness in Vegas. I can't even.
So anyway, come join the Between Realities crew in Vegas, June 26th.
Maybe I should go to Vegas with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be there, and we're gonna be at this comedy show. I mean, I will be there for sure. Skiva's still working out some scheduling, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but maybe Skiva will be there. I'll definitely be there. If you guys are near Vegas, Friday the 26th, I'm at this comedy club thing. Hit me up for more details.
And you guys are part of that, right? Aren't you guys like a sponsor maybe or something? Or did I see that somewhere?
No, but we just want to go there and promote it, right? Interview some people, really get it some visibility.
For me, it's just honestly, it's just a matter of taking advantage of the opportunity to go and do something like what I used to. Like we would go to events with a camera and a microphone, interview people, get content, like engage with people, like that. I miss that so much. And this is just like the first thing that's a stone's throw away, which Vegas is like 5 hours or something from us. But it's like within reach. I can drive there in a day, and I can take a camera and a microphone, and we can do the damn thing. You know, like here's VR in the real world, like back on the beat, you know, back on the street. So that's for me. It's more about just like getting back out there and doing something and interviewing some people in real life again. You know, because that was like the bread and butter before any of this between reality shit came along. And by bread and butter, I just mean the thing I did. Don't make money.
Well, that's what you were doing, and I met you at F6, right? I think I recall you were recording and interviewing people, getting a bunch of content. And it's interesting, right? Even with all this COVID stuff and people going to virtual, you know, worlds during COVID, like, and discovering like how VR can work and potentially work. I still think it's going to be something that's going to carry over, even as people become vaccinated and, you know, just, you know, move on. So,
Croy VR says, between realities in Vegas, when you guys come into Scotland for whiskey haggis.
Oh, haggis. So I looked up haggis, and that does not look good to me.
Haggis is. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's like it looks
haggis
like it's animal stomach and just some weirdness.
I mean, the name isn't doing it any favors.
No, it's definitely not.
it's like stuffed animal, like a stomach, and they just kind of stuff it with meats, and it's
stuffed.
Apparently, it's loved by many.
Gross.
Wow. Well, I'm willing to try it, but typically, it's like that's like backwards. Sounds like the stuff should be outside the stomach.
Yeah.
Or going into mine.
Yeah.
But I'll try your haggis.
All VR says tastes good though. I just saw all VR says tastes good as fuck.
Well, that's because all VR is also on the other side of the planet and probably participates in these wild ass customs. I'll tell you what, I'm coming. I'm gonna try haggis, and you know, who knows? Maybe I'll like it.
Can we document that? We should document that.
I'll film it, and I'll try, you know, that way you don't see me barfing on the other side of the camera.
Absolutely. Obscure Nerd VR in the house. I know Obscure Nerd Andy Southern. He's like moving into an apartment right now, I think. But, you know, just saying, like, Vegas, right? Not too far from
LA. I think he's probably closer than we are, so dude. He probably could meet us there. Without much effort.
Come hang out, man. That would be amazing. Anybody who's nearby, let's like just have a nice night together. You know what I mean? All I got's Friday night, by the way, because I'm bringing my wife with me. She wants to have a Vegas like couples getaway, so all I get's Friday.
There you go.
So don't come to Vegas for anything other than Friday for me. Quicksilver VR says she's gonna come and see us in Arizona when she drives through in January.
Yeah. I think that's gonna be super fun, man.
Where are you guys located?
Arizona. We're in the desert.
You're in Arizona.
Yep.
Wow, man. Yep. Is it true the scorpions come out of the sink in Arizona?
Dude, they come out of they'll come out of the sink. Yeah, no, it is, man. They can come out of the sink. They'll come out of your drain from your bathtub. It depends where you are. If you're on, this is
it true that people hit the lottery?
Well, yeah, but I mean, we're talking about if you live out in Surprise, Goodyear, the outskirts, right, where like it's a town and then desert, they have a lot more issues with rattlesnakes, with scorpions, tarantulas, javelinas.
That said, you know, I've been in Arizona for a number of years, and I've never had a fucking snake crawl out of my toilet and bite my nutsack. So I don't think
I have had scorpions crawl up my wall behind my bed and like fall on the pillow and shit. It's like, yeah.
Rare. These are rare.
That's terrible.
These are rare occurrences. Okay, like I would rather take my chances with these rattlesnakes and scorpions than go back to the Midwest and deal with like mosquitoes.
Oh yeah, screw mosquitoes.
Like, that is like the worst.
Oh yeah, we have mosquitoes here. I mean,
yeah.
So where are
I'm
you?
in the
Bobby?
Northeast, and we're all about mosquitoes.
Oh, cool.
You're in the Northeast where?
What's that?
Tell me your address.
Oh, I'm in. As long as send me goods. I'm in Saratoga Springs, New York. So if there was like a straight line between Montreal and New York City, I'm right in the middle, like just above Albany, New York.
Sweet.
Or
nice.
You know,
I grew up in Boston.
If you're from California, it's Albany.
Yeah, I grew up in Boston, just further east of you, you know, and froze to death until I moved out to the desert. Now I'm melting. So
right. What's up, John Westra out there, Michiganders? Boom.
Oh, John, yeah. John's, I see John.
Yep.
John was also a Patreon.
Michigander, dude. Michigander's in the house right there. Psh, psh. Vampire sparrows. Dude, oh my God. Mosquitoes in Michigan, the worst thing ever. Seriously, a reason not to live there. I'm not even kidding. Like,
no, I feel you, man.
Legit reason not to live there. Yeah. They're so bad. I mean, and I grew up in like a marsh area where it's just like standing still water as far as the eye can see, and you are completely fucked. There's no escape. It was terrible. So anyway, Obscure Nerd said that he would be down if he got booked on this show. So maybe we could like poke Kyle a little bit and be like, hey man, get Andy on this thing, and then Andy can come out to Vegas on Friday and hang out with us.
Oh boy,
little Obscure Nerd, and then I can interview him, and I can interview everybody. I'm gonna interview you. You guys come and
will we make it through Friday?
Kristen Ferguson, talk about aliens.
Talk about aliens.
Just show up. Hey, talk about aliens.
Talk about what I want you to talk about.
You can talk about aliens.
So tell us about your cute little UFO tattoo that you have over there, Bobby.
Oh, here it is. So yeah, there it is, the UFO. So oddly enough, I have Max. I don't know if you know Max Noir. Max, she does a lot of work in AR VR space, but we have matching tattoos. She's we got those, but it's a symbol for me that and I haven't talked about this much to many people, but as a child, I was abducted by aliens. And I know people right now in the chat are like, what the fuck? You're fucking joking. But no, the fact is, I am absolutely, I believe I was abducted by aliens. Growing up, I used to have these like terrible nightmares. And to the point where my parents actually were like, you need to get some help. Because they didn't believe me, but I would have these nightmares where these hands, like I'd have these giant hands in the nightmare, and I couldn't control them, and the hands always sort of kept grabbing my face, and this probably happened like maybe once every 2-3 weeks. Sometimes it'd go like a while, and my mom would find me like either screaming, like hiding under the bed, or hiding like in a corner, or like on top of the dresser. Once she found me on top of the dresser once, and they were just like, he's having these weird nightmares. But as I grew up, I started thinking like, no, there's no way, because it felt very real. And even to this day, as an adult, I will occasionally have that sensation and feeling where and what I realized was, it wasn't that my hands were large in the dream, but I realized that these were hands coming at me, and I couldn't, So yes, I was. So I do thoroughly believe that I was abducted by aliens.
Well, and for anyone that doesn't, or that might not know, there's some things going on in the news right now where videos of UFOs are being declassified by the U.S. government. Yeah. These are all shot by the U.S. Navy and different forces, and a lot of these pilots talk about their interactions with these things every single day for years and years and years. And this stuff is starting to come out, and the Senate actually petitioned the Pentagon to declassify and release a report on some of these UAPs or UFOs. So what you're seeing on the screen above me right now, or right over here right now, are some of these actual videos that were declassified by the Pentagon. So we're supposed to get a report this month on some of these things. So I find it very interesting. I thought it was going to be early.
I thought it was be June, but apparently I thought it'd be out by now. But I've seen UFOs. I have a photo. I have a photo from a year and a half ago that I took while driving through Albany, and I've had it looked at, and no one's been able to sort of figure out what it is. I mean, here's the thing. I'm always a type of person, like I'm a functioning adult. I feel like I'm well grounded, so I'm open to, if there's a way to scientifically debunk something, I'm open to that. But no one's been able to sort of debunk this photo, and I've had many people look at it. So,
well, there's a lot of super amazing footage out there right now that the government can't debunk, and they have been spending a lot of money on trying to get these things debunked, right? And to try to figure out what these are. They're not saying it's aliens, right? They're saying that we don't know what this is. We have no idea what these things are, how they move in the way they do. There is, some of these things are able to drop 80,000 feet a second, splash into the water and not even lose any acceleration. They are able to cross sound barriers without making any kind of a sonic boom. Some really, really crazy shit going on.
So
and
it's interesting because
apparently the report's due tomorrow. I just saw someone in the chat say that his Paradise Decay, the report is due out tomorrow.
So this is all,
but yeah,
it's all super interesting, man. Yeah, because like there's
it is, and I've never talked about it again. Only this is the first time I've actually publicly really talked about being abducted by aliens, and it's I laugh about it, but it was something that as it traumatized me as a kid, and as I got older, that's when I started realizing that hey, this is what I think actually happened to me.
Man. So and there's kind of like there's like I don't know, almost like two schools of thought I think when it comes to extraterrestrials. First of all, UFO is a term that is commonly associated with extraterrestrials, which is probably due to pop culture, but in reality, they should maybe rename UFO to remove the connotation of extraterrestrial.
They now call it UAP.
UAP. Okay, that sounds
which is an unidentified aerial phenomena.
Right, because we don't know anything about the oceans since we're talking about the ocean, right? Like that shit could very well be terrestrial. That could be something that lives here, and they don't want to talk to us or whatever. You know what I mean? Like the bottom of the fucking ocean or something. Who knows? When you see stuff that like defies the laws of physics, I start to like go into, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, into the like extra dimensional kind of beings, right? And I know Joachim brought up stuff like DMT, how people have DMT experiences and they all come back saying they like went somewhere and talked to someone.
Yes.
So, but here's my question. If I don't think that like the spaceship alien and the interdimensional alien, like they don't seem to like align for me. It almost seems like it would be like either one or the other, because why would something that's interdimensional need a metal craft, right? And like, why would it even need to go anywhere or do anything? Why would it need to exist in space-time? So if it's a metal craft of any kind, I can't help but feel like it's somehow rooted in our reality.
It's interesting because there's no wings, there's no propulsion systems that are visible, there are no windows, there's nothing that can be identified as a way for these things to actually fly. So there's a lot of theories out there talking about how this could be something interdimensional, poking through the dimension to ours, because it's not going through our air and using our physics and creating sound barrier booms and things. This stuff is not following our physics.
Could it be like a game master logging in and like using his all powerful avatar to move around?
Maybe.
What are you thinking about, Bobby?
It could be. Well, it could also be, this idea of time travel that they're not aliens, they're actually just, travelers from the future who are moving through, time to sort of either, sort of examine humanity today and sort of to prevent whatever disaster they're living in then or in the future, or, it could be a lot of different ideas, and it's this idea that and I do agree with Skiba, right, that there's a sort of interdimensional sort of layers of sort of timelines that people can sort of move in and out of, shift through back and forth. I was talking to a friend and telling her how, imagine having like that piece of paper, like a notebook, and you take a magic marker and you draw a big black dot on one page, but if you peel that page back, maybe that magic marker has leaked onto the next page, and right, so that ability to sort of like move through different sort of layers of time.
I've also heard about the idea of time travel not necessarily moving through space, but it's like the idea of taking a piece of paper and folding it and then poking a hole through it. And then when you unfold it, the hole exists on the other side, like way on the other end of the page, and you like just go through the hole.
Wait, wasn't that the premise of that movie? What was that with Sam Neill?
I have no idea where I pulled that from.
It was a science horror flick. I think he actually did that in the movie. He was like folded a piece of paper, put a pen through it.
Yeah, but that's like folding space time, and like creating a wormhole, because it's like, to move through space time is like that's like a primitive, right? Like to go through it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how we're gonna.
You know, I want to mention too that this sounds probably insane to a lot of people that aren't into this kind of thing, and I know this has nothing to do with VR, but this is very relevant news happening now, right? And imagine if we are able to get some kind of VR technology out of this, right? Just to throw some kind of VR thing into this, right? But for real, I don't know. Have you ever heard of To the Stars Academy by chance? So
no.
This is a company.
What is this?
This is a company that involves a lot of people that have retired from CIA, from all kinds of government divisions that have seen things that they want to bring to the real world. So this company, they go out and they track down alien technology and they reverse engineer it and they put it into consumer products. These are a lot. This is some real life shit. This is an actual company happening that's going on right now, and these people are making money doing this. This is a monetary thing. They are going out and they are getting these things and they are reverse engineering these things. So this is all, I mean, we're on unprecedented times as far as I'm concerned, with all of this stuff going on, with possible government disclosure, with companies out there that are making money on alien technology or unidentified, you know,
Onion
technology.
Man 77's here. He says Event Horizon was the Sam Neill movie.
That's right, Event Horizon. That's right. That was if you've never seen that movie, it's kind of fucked up. It's
terrifying.
You know,
we've also got Licks.
Was that Das Boot, but in outer space? So,
we got Licks Nix here. We've also had Get to the Chopper VR in the house. He's been here hanging out, dude. What's up, Dane?
What's up, guys?
Good to see you. And Sampler 19. Sampler 19's been in the chat. It's good to see you as well, Sampler.
Oh, hi, Sampler 19.
Sweaty Nugget JJ, how's it going, buddy?
That's right, dude. Thank you guys for joining us. So, you know, first of all, that would not surprise me at all, because I am often absolutely fucking flabbergasted when I look around and I look at all the shit that we're doing, you know, like we're communicating in real time across a great fucking distance right now, using these screens and lights and like sending like signals through these wires and shit. Like, how did we go from running around in the woods with rocks and sticks and leaves and shit to this? Like, how does that fucking happen? Like, you could leave me in the woods for a million years and I don't think I would like make the internet.
Yeah. Well, and we put screens on our face and transport ourselves to new and interesting places.
Here is the link for VR. It's less like, hey, maybe we'll have an experience that does something. And it's more the fact that we are scratching at the surface of VR, of the ability to exist in two places at one time, to perceive multiple things at one time, to move through different versions of reality. Like, to me, VR is like a primitive version of the ability to transcend and to shift and to do new dream states and shit like that.
Well, to dive into those layers, right? Those timeline layers, and you know, again, and I've always thought, and I totally agree with you. You know, virtual reality at this point, where it's at right now, right, is I know it's been around for a few years and there's been a lot of evolution in the technology, and we're just seeing all these experiences, but I still think we are literally just scratching the very, very top of what VR can do, where it's going to go. You know, I would predict, you know, that even 5 years from now, we still aren't digging into the real deep part of what VR will be able to do for us. But I do see, you know, that you know, those layers, right? We can dig into, we can transport, right? You can be in another place, right, into a virtual world. But I predict that I would think that you could even be in multiple worlds at once. Through VR and having that ability to sort of jump in and be at several locations very easily. How we get there and how we do it, you know, we'll see where companies like HTC and Facebook take the technology and Pico, but you know, as people are getting more creative with developing, you know, these tools, it's definitely going to push us a lot deeper than what we even imagine today.
Absolutely.
I agree. I always say that we're in like the Atari 2600 phase of virtual reality, right? This shit just started.
We really are.
Yeah, it just started. We will eventually be at the PlayStation 5 portion of virtual reality, right? Where things are just going to be absolutely incredible. We have Valve that I wish I had pictures of this up on the screen, that there has been photos of their new brain computer interface attached to the Index. And because we all know Gabe Newell is very, very much into brain-computer interfacing. That's like been his passion lately, because one of the ways the way to improve VR, I think, is to remove the screen, to remove the lenses, to remove all of this and directly intercept our visual cortex and really make things as real as possible. Do we need haptic suits in the future, or will we use what we have in our body? Will we be able to send these signals through our nervous system and make things extremely realistic?
Joachim, I guess I can't.
Would think that,
Go ahead, Bobby.
Well, I was going to say, that VR, right? As of right now, right, it has the ability to hack our brains into thinking we're on top of a giant building looking down, right? I mean, and we get all those feelings, right? The physical reaction is you get scared and you start to sweat, so I do think in the future, right, or that VR will be able to hack how the idea we're without haptic suits, that we're getting punched in the arm, or we're having someone hold us, that's where I think VR will eventually start to be able to hacking us that way. Again, it's still a long ways away, but we are definitely on track, and does VR come from alien technology? I don't know. But if you look at stuff like AI, and you look at all that type of tech and biometrics, I mean, that's stuff that, as you said, Alex, we went from throwing rocks at each other, to defend ourselves, into this whole new technology infused world. It's pretty interesting.
It's absolutely mind blowing. I have no fucking clue how we got to where we are, and that's the kind of stuff that leads me to believe that maybe alien technology was found, and we were like, holy shit, and when we saw it, boom, it changed everything. Because it's how do you do that?
The whole computer boom, the whole computer revolution started shortly after there was supposedly a ship wreckage recovered from New Mexico. So a lot of the things line up. Who knows, man, right?
Right.
We got companies out there that are literally making stupid amounts of money by supposedly reverse engineering alien technology.
So,
we're essentially saying that Palmer Luckey is an alien, right? Is that what we're alluding to?
I think there's photo evidence of that if you look hard enough. I'm pretty sure you could find a picture that would hint towards that.
I mean, look at his name, Palmer Luckey. Right? He was up on the ship one day, and they're like, "What do we call ourselves in human language?"
I mean, Palmer Luckey really rolls off the tongue quite nicely.
You're Palmer Luckey.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue.
Palmer, if you're in the chat, let us know.
If you're in the chat,
be upfront. Are you a space mouse?
Yeah, come on, Palmer. We know you're listening.
Just jump right in.
We know you're listening, dude. Just fucking.
Is he a reptilian? Who knows?
Quit lurking. So I thought maybe I'd be able to avoid talking about this until maybe I could get Joachim on the show, but it's very relevant to what we're talking about, and this is going to kind of piggyback a little bit off of one of the points that you just made, Bobby, about removing the haptic suit and feeling the punch. I work for BHaptics, I am all about haptics, but I absolutely seeing this going to a place where it's more like Total Recall, where you just sit down in a chair and they're like, ready for your new reality? 3, 2, 1. And now they're like, wait a second, he's a fucking secret agent. Holy shit. And he just starts blasting people right away. Your reality just shifts. You just move into the new one. And Joachim brought up dreaming. I actually was very, very interested and was on a pursuit of learning how to master lucid dreaming way before VR was ever a thing. I saw a movie called Waking Life back in the college years that changed my perspective on what dreams are and how important they are. And it made me realize that dreaming is 35 to 40% of the human experience. We spend so much fucking time asleep, shifting through infinite realities of our own creation, So it's by learning how to master lucid dreaming, it's almost like learning how to play any VR game that you've ever wanted to. So we almost have this latent ability to shift in and out of realities every single fucking night when we go to sleep, but it's not taught. It's not brought up in conversation. No one seems to give a flying fuck. Anytime anybody has a dream about anything, they just write it off as something that didn't happen and didn't exist. But guess what? It absolutely happened. It absolutely existed. You have a memory of it. You experienced it. So to say that it didn't happen is fucking ridiculous. And to say that it shouldn't be paid attention to, like, I'm not saying, oh, I dreamt about a crab, that means I'm insecure about my money. You know, like, I'm not talking about that kind of shit. Like, there is a latent potential. Yeah, I think but there's a latent potential there that is uncapitalized on. And I could see VR maybe waking people up to the ideas of stuff like that, being like, wait a second, oh, it's not all just this black and white fucking structured bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, people should learn how to dream. And frankly, I never got there. I never got to the point where I can just become lucid every night, because guess what? It's a lot of fucking work. Yeah. It's not easy to do. You literally have to be willing to question your reality every day right now, because dreaming does not feel different than experiencing something. Literally, to the neurological processes in your brain that determine what's real and what's not real, there is no difference between dreaming an experience and having it in your waking life. So, boom.
Yeah, and of course, when you look at how we perceive actual reality, we're not seeing raw reality, right? We have light going into our eyeballs, which is going down through some color cones that's going to the back of our brain, which is then we have multiple layers that's trying to perceive and put together all the data that we're feeding it, along with the sounds coming in from our ears, the smells coming in from our nose, the feeling from our nervous system, and it's all put together and built within our own mind. So in all intensive purposes, this is a virtual reality. What we're experiencing right now is absolutely a virtual reality.
And there's no difference between experiencing this and experiencing a dream. And then if you really break it down, when we play a game, for all intents and purposes, that is happening. It does exist, and all participants are agreeing on the terms. They're all saying, okay, here's what's happening. Yep, you just shot at me and I took 50 damage. You know, like, it's all actual, it's all real, and none of these experiences deserve to be swept under the rug. And they all are in favor of this, like, brick and mortar sensory perception reality that is that we all share. You know, like, it's like, because we all come here, we agree that this is the only reality that matters, you know. But in reality, I would love for people to put more stock in their dreaming experiences, spend time dreaming, enjoy dreaming, you know, like, that's your life. It's literally your fucking life. Mm-hmm. Literally.
Well, that's why I think that more exploration should be done in the sense of with sort of VR technology and sort of the evolution of VR. And I'm sure there's a lot of that happening right now. I mean, the idea of measuring, how your brain works and reacts in virtual reality, and measuring sort of like what parts of the brain are being activated while in VR, is there sort of overlap with those parts of your brain while you're dreaming? And I'm sure there is, and there has to be the idea that VR is going to. I do think we're going to move away from that idea of hardware. I think hardware eventually, many years from now, will be eliminated, and the VR experience that that you pay for, might be sort of like a software-based subscription. Right. That's like you think about music, right? We'll talk about, we used to buy records and CDs, and now we just buy a subscription. And I'm sure people are thinking, like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? But I do think that VR eventually, Oculus, will have, instead of buying the Oculus 10, you just buy your subscription to Oculus, and then you can, jump into VR you might have to put on like a weird little cap. But right. that's what I think will happen, and you'll feel the physical part
brain.
Of it. You'll mentally think you're there.
Just like completely takes everything over and just hijacks your brain and tells it what's happening.
Yeah, and with Viveport, we're kind of already going down that road of a subscription based thing, right? Where you pay, you get all your games. There you go, boom.
Yeah.
Right.
And to clear things up, just in case we have some people who are really new to this kind of thing, lucid dreaming is realizing you're in a dream and being able to control what the experience is like. And it sounds like a thing that would maybe be like easy to do or something. And Joachim's kind of touching on it now. It's extremely hard to do because, like I said, it does not feel different than this.
When I was a little kid, it was a lot easier. I was able to lucid dream and be like, oh my God, I'm in a dream. I'm going to fly. You know, like whatever you want to do at the point where your brain understands that this is not real, you're able to break the laws of that world.
And what's so insane is that that wasn't the case for me at all. And I mean, I started more as an adult. I think it was in my 20s when I started doing this. But what I went lucid a handful of times, and each time it was fucking insane. To use Joachim's word, literally insane. Like, oh my God, this is a dream. Holy shit, this is a dream. And it's like so exciting that I woke up like right away. Like I got so excited because I realized it. I was like, oh my God, no, this is a dream. You are a dream character. You know, like really understanding that is absolutely fucking mind blowing. And the other thing too that I noticed is that even though I went lucid, I was still quintessentially myself. Like this is funny, but I'm a dude, right? And like, I imagine being able to go lucid dreams. It's like, oh man, maybe I'll be able to just summon 50 supermodels and just like have a fucking crazy sex party with all of them, you know, like something that would be impossible to do in the real life, you know, or just like attack that gorgeous woman sitting on the park bench. But then I'm looking at her. I was like, what am I going to do? Go take her clothes off? Like, no, like I wouldn't do that, you know, like I'm still me. Like I'm still bound by my personality, my ethics, my morals. And the other thing too is one time I was like, oh, I'm dreaming right now. Let me conjure a fireball because I know I can do anything. I'll just conjure a fireball. Nothing.
Really?
Nothing. I'm like, and like nothing is happening, you know, like it's like I went online and, you know, people give tips for that kind of thing. They're like, oh, you have to trick yourself. Like you have to take a pill that gives you the ability to conjure fire. You know, you have to like find a workaround. Instead of conjuring something in front of you, be like, when I turn this corner, I'm going to see the person who I'm looking for. So you turn a corner and there they are, you know, like
so
that
you need a trigger. You need a trigger within those dreams in a sense.
Yep. And to get to this point, it takes so much goddamn training. To Joachim's nailing all of this stuff, but it's like, you have to wake up in the middle of the goddamn night multiple times. You have to like set an alarm, wake up, jot down everything, go back to sleep, wake up 2 hours later, jot down everything, go back to sleep. And like the process of writing your dreams out in a strict format every single night trains you to like hold on to what's happening and trains you to start to be able to look for
It'll be interesting if we're able to do things like record these dream states with brain computer interfacing eventually, right? I mean, especially things like Neuralink, stuff like that.
Your REM sleep or anything like that? That doesn't disrupt, you know, like having like a solid sleep or anything like that? Or
it's to wake up. I think it's to wake up in between them. So like you have a REM cycle and as soon as it ends, poof, you wake up, jot down everything, go back into one. Yeah. And you have to like avoid light. You like wake up and like don't go into like a well-lit area, like stay there. Right. You have to check the clock all the fucking time. Like in your real life, you have to check the clock anytime something seems weird. It's like, oh, this is kind of weird. What time? What's the time and date right now? Like you need something to hold on to, and it needs to be a behavior that is real, so it translates into the real you in your dreams. So that way when something weird happens, you can be like, what time is it? And you look at your phone and it's just like alien text scrolling on it, and you're like, oh, wait a second. I just tried to check the time and I can't even tell.
That sort of brings up the question, like, you know, what is real, right? I mean, are we dreaming now, or are we dreaming, you know, and then are we dreaming? Like, which part of that cycle is real?
That is the question I want everyone here to be asking themselves.
Is that when we go into reality?
That is the fucking question.
I would like a 5-page paper from everyone in the chat. If we could get that.
Yeah, you know,
due by Friday next week.
I think, you know, one of the things that this all kind of pertains to real life too, because there's in my mind there's a lot of things that you can do to trick yourself into manifesting the things that you want to come into your life, right? And one of the things that really made me kind of understand how all this works, or not how all of it works, but that it's all possible, is the whole DMT revolution, right? Is all these people that are able to take DMT, it's kind of like taking off the headset for a second and going, oh my God, holy shit, look at this. And then putting the headset back on and coming back into real life. For a second there, you were able to see that this isn't any more real than any dream, than any VR experience. So, man, I don't know. The whole thing with people, everyone going to the same place and meeting the same entities, and similar experiences with how they react to you and the things happening, just really, for me, solidifies the fact that this really is a VR experience.
Well, I mean, it's like taking drugs, right? I mean, taking LSD. Like, what if LSD is that way of like peeking out?
I think it is
from underneath, the headset.
Yeah, I think LSD is more like peeking through the nose hole, I think, right? But DMT is like taking the headset off, and being like, "Oh my god," and then putting it back on.
Yeah, I think that's a good way. I mean, I haven't done DMT, but the other stuff, yes. And I think I mean, it really feels like lifting the veil and getting a glimpse as to the nature of the way things are. And you kind of suffer amnesia from it in the same way that you do when you wake up from a dream, right? Like you're like, oh, it was like this, and then I was in my house, but it wasn't my house. Like that's how I remember my hallucinogenic experiences.
Your body naturally tries to defend this reality,
right?
And it has chemicals that come out from your brain to destroy DMT very quickly, and that's why ayahuasca is a big deal, right? Because it kind of stops that process from happening, and it lets you stay in that state for an extended period of time.
Mike Newton in the chat, the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? That is correct, sir. That is a great movie to watch if you're interested at all in what we're talking about right now. What the Bleep Do We Know will blow the lid off on a bunch of these things.
Yeah.
So, and it's interesting too. One thing I wanted to mention, I mentioned before we move away too far from it, but is what I noticed in my pursuit of lucid dreaming and my inability to take advantage of the opportunities that were presented to me in my dreams because of my personality. It led me to make decisions in my real life that would translate into those things. So it's like if I'm dreaming and I see that woman on the park bench and I'm like, wait, I wouldn't go and talk to her. Or like, no, like in my dream, and that prevented me. Like that got me thinking about my behavior in the real world and got me to translate and be like more fearless, right? And like more like outgoing and giving into my inhibitions a little bit more, like if there's like desires that I actually had that I was inhibiting because I felt like they were not right or whatever, it inspired me to like go for what I wanted in the real world because I wasn't doing it in my dreams when I was presented with the opportunities.
That's interesting.
It is.
Wow.
A quick Silva PSVR. She had a dream. She dreamed that her 5-year-old almost drowned. Then 2 weeks later, her husband goes to the pond with the boys, and it comes home to say that the 5-year-old almost fell into the water reserve. So, and almost drowned. I mean, so I do, that dreams can be very predictive, right? Like they can, again, it's that idea of like jumping from timelines or even sort of jumping from sort of like into the future or into the past, like that dream, like, what is the reality? And kind of bring it back to sort of what, this podcast in virtual reality is VR is going to, as it changes, is going to hack into that mechanism of our brains where we potentially could start seeing, the jumping into the future, jumping into different timelines. Again, I'm reaching in there, but I do think that's possible.
I think it is too, 100%, especially because most of it, like I said, I feel like a lot of what we're talking about here is kind of latent in us somewhere, if it's either, spiritually or physiologically or whatever, but I feel like it's latent somewhere within us. We all have the ability to do these things, and I feel like it's been repressed or at least not had the environment to flourish and be brought to the surface and be important. And I feel like VR is a push. It's like when someone puts on a VR headset who, has never smoked weed, never done LSD, never been drunk, like never had like an experience that shifted their perspective of reality, and then they put the headset on and they're like, dude, it felt like I was there. It might be enough for them to start thinking, and be like, wait a second. And if we can find a way to manipulate the senses to make you feel like you're somewhere else, then maybe there's like a code to be cracked there. Right? Where like the right pattern of combination of colors and sounds unlocks the brain's potential to like go somewhere, like I see the technology being used as a way to unlock latent hidden potentials of the human experience.
Well, that's why I think with VR is so great in training. So a lot of, again, kind of there's a lot of work that I do with corporate engagement, and how does VR change the way, not only do we learn as employees in K-12 or anything like that, but like bouncing off of what you've just said, Alex, like that VR can unlock that ability to take on more information and have your brain sort of figure out a new way to learn the task faster and be more efficient and carry on that information into your next job or into the real world. And so that's why I think it's such a great tool in those environments.
So tell us a little bit about Ready Learner 1. Is that where you were going to go?
That's exactly where I was going to go. I want to know all about this and how you're able to use this to help people learn and train and to make workforces more efficient.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, so you look at the data, right, with what VR can do, right? I mean, we've said that virtual reality, you learn more information at a faster rate of speed because you're learning by doing, right? You're physically hacking the brain, and you're learning. We're talking high voltage switching. With trains, for example, this train company had their employees train using virtual reality and switching, and so your brain thinks this is a real scenario, and your brain tells you if you were to fuck up, you're going to die. It's high voltage. So you're learning by doing. You're actually physically going through the motions. It's mental muscle memory. So I don't say muscle memory because you're not getting that physical pushback. Like lifting something, but you're mentally getting that muscle memory, and you're able to take that task, do it in VR, thinking that if you were make a mistake, that there would be some major consequences. And then as you learn that task, you can then apply that into the real world, and you learn faster. And so what Ready Learner 1 is about, we're actually just like a team of instructional designers who all have a deep knowledge of VR and AR. And what we do is we help companies and organizations come up with a strategy on bringing VR into their ecosystem. Because a lot of times what happens is a company will say, hey, we're going to use VR. They invest $50,000 into headsets, and they give them to their employees, and all of a sudden, the chief learning officer saying okay, so we're basically having people play video games, and it doesn't work. It's because they don't have a plan. And so what we do is we help them develop a plan to use both traditional methods and VR and AR technology, fold that into their ecosystem of learning, so their LMS, and then from there we help them then launch that within, and then have successful training. So that's what we really do.
I like it. That's badass.
Yeah,
that's very cool. I remember
it's not as exciting as space aliens.
No. I remember we were at VRX, right? And we saw ExxonMobil give a talk about how they use VR to place their employees on the oil rigs in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean. There's no escape when shit goes wrong there. Right, you are on a rig in the middle of the ocean. Shit catches fire, you're in trouble. You better know what to do. So they're using VR to very immersively help these people understand. Okay, this problem goes down here. I have to get around and go over here and hit these levers and do this, and without the actual fear of being burned to death. Right? A lot of this stuff is very hard to train employees on by just saying, look, this could happen and you have to be prepared for it. But to be able to put them in the situation safely.
Well, and it gives you a little bit of fear. It's not no fear. It's in VR, so it's immersive. There's a little bit.
And we'll look at Walmart, right? So Walmart, most of the U.S. employees have the option of training through virtual reality and through a active shooter scenario, and for Black Friday sales. Believe it or not, Black Friday sales is a way they use VR to train people. And there was a shooting, one of the shootings at a Walmart in Texas, a couple years ago, where they were interviewing the employee, and the employee had said, the interviewer asked him, how did you know what to do when everything started happening? And he had said, well, we went through VR training, and that helped me sort of not panic and understand what to do. I mean, so you're getting that mental muscle memory, from virtual reality, and you're applying it to the real world. And so there's definitely a lot of really awesome, cases where VR is working. I mean, we're seeing how it works. We're seeing how it's changing education. We're seeing how it's changing how we collaborate and socialize. I mean, when COVID hit, a lot of people turned to virtual reality and even like music, you know, Wave XR, and you look at what's happening with Alt Space VR with bands. And Verbella recently had DJ Jazzy Jeff perform maybe 6 months ago in VR. So it's definitely becoming this way for people to get together and communicate and learn.
Man, I love that you brought up the Wave XR, because to me that is probably one of the top 5 most underrated VR experiences that I have ever seen. Anytime I've ever been in there, it has blown my mind to smithereens. Like, for these artists to be able to go in and create visuals all around you and just have all of these absolutely insane things happening during their performance. I mean, it is so next level. It is so next level. And if they had been able to pull that off in the Quest, I think it would have been so massive, just absolutely huge. Because, you know, for me, those experiences were better almost than any concert I've ever been to, just by like the performance and the things and the effects that were happening. I mean, it really, the Wave XR is just unfreaking real, man. It's so good. And it's PC VR only.
Well, Wave XR, right? I mean, it's just, I think they're called Wave now, right? Because they become sort of more of a virtual platform and less of a virtual reality platform. But they're doing things that you can't do in the real world, right? You have this digital content that you can just bring into those environments, and even like now, like as virtual reality becomes this place for people to get together to see shows, you know, you get artists who are streaming like a live performance on YouTube, like in a 2D sort of traditional viewing, but they're bringing that YouTube stream into, you know, the virtual space. So you're like there, like almost like at a drive-in watching a concert. So it's blending all these different formats of communication, and you're giving people the ability to now, you know, watch a show or see, you know, look at hip hop in VR. I just wrote about them for VR Scout. I mean, that guy is bringing hip hop shows into virtual reality, and the way he's doing it is, instead of like giving everybody VR headsets, he's like, look, if you have a VR headset, jump in, or if you can do web VR, jump in. But we're just going to stream a live show from someone's basement, and so he's taken the messy part out of it, but, you know, by not requiring the band to be in VR, and that's what Wave did. Really, Wave, you know, is a broadcast through virtual platforms. You know, it's not true immersive VR, but it's definitely, they're doing things that they just can't do in the real world.
Yeah. And VR, like, I think this kind of ties into both of these things, but it's like VR is just, it's immersive, but it's also engaging, you know, and there's a distinction there. Like, when you're going to training for work or whatever, and they're like, okay, sit down, let's do your training. It's just some like class or whatever. You like kind of get bored. There's like distractions around you. You're like
wheel in a cart with a TV.
You know, there's a lot going on, you know, but when you like get handed a VR headset and like, guess what? You're going to go into VR. You're like, I think anyone would perk up from that. Like, whoa, okay, what the fuck is this? This is cool. You know, like there's like a level of engagement that happens when you use this technology that is hard to achieve otherwise, you know? And like for the Wave, for example, like there's so much less distractions, you know, like you go in there and like you are focused on what's happening. You know, you're not thinking about the guy behind you who's singing too loud or, you know, whatever. You're just like, you're just engaged, you know, and it makes people present. It forces people to have present moment awareness, which is another one of like the transcendental properties, in my opinion, of virtual reality. Is it really brings you into that moment. It just removes a lot of distractions and makes it easier to focus.
Yeah. You know, we have a friend named Emil, right? And he has done some amazing things with 360 video and concerts, and not just regular 360 video, but actually being able to move around the venue and seamlessly walk around, you know, maybe stand on stage, right? Or get down into the crowd.
He's got like 6 cameras or 7 cameras around the venue, and you can just move around to each one in real time. So sick.
Yeah, I really see that as being the future of concert going, especially after the world suffered through a global pandemic, right?
I mean, I'll be honest, dude. Go ahead, Bobby.
I was gonna say, like, I think I saw like a Billie Eilish concert in Oculus venues, where you were, the way they set up, like I think you were in the crowd, but then I could be up on the stage next to her brother Phineas. I think it's his name, Phineas. He's playing bass, and you would just have this ability to move around, and it's a virtual environment, so you could look in any direction. You had that ability to control where you're watching the show, but once you're in that location, you now have that extra ability to sort of turn around and look at the drummer, look at the crowd, and that I think potentially is going to be that sort of carryover into sort of concerts in the future once people get vaccinated. Like as you might want to be like if the concert, Coachella, for example, if I were to fly out there, get a ticket that's expensive, or I could buy a VR ticket here in New York and go to Coachella and have that ability to, be on stage, have the ability to be behind the stage and watch the concert. So that's where I think it'll continue to grow, and I think continue to catch on in the entertainment industry and the music industry.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head when it comes to just like the option. Like I don't see the VR concerts and events replacing real life concerts or events anytime soon. But it's a nice it's like a nice option if you can't get out to Coachella, right? Like I personally love VR. I love all this immersive stuff, but I need to go to a real show. Like I gotta see, I gotta experience those sound waves coming from those instruments. Like it's not a replacement at all. And I don't see it changing until we get to like Total Recall level of immersion. But here's something interesting that I was thinking about earlier that I feel like is a good time to kind of bring up too. So we talk about like, the Total Recall level of immersion, right? And this is something that Skiva and I have talked about a few times before too, but it's like, I don't have time to play like every VR game that I want to now, like to perceive one reality at one single moment of time is like what we're used to doing. But it would be so cool if I could do like a Total Recall, like go to Total Recall and pay for a concert and the movie and the Secret Agent experience and Beat Saber. And then like when I wake up, I have done all three simultaneously, like I will have already like, I can do in the same amount of time what I could only do one experience. I can stack them up and exist simultaneously among them, and that's another potential that I could see a lot of this stuff going.
That'd be pretty sick. And that is very Total Recall, right? Being able to implant different things into your mind. So when you have those memories, like they actually happen to you. So I think that
would be pretty cool. I mean, it's interesting, right? That and even now, right? I mean, like the idea that if I were to go down to my basement into the office and put on a VR headset, essentially I have two memories, right? I have the memory of what I am seeing in front of me in VR. At the same time, I have that memory of being in my basement, and so I know I'm conscious that there's sort of two realities happening simultaneously in my head. So but it's easy to also forget, right? When you're in VR, you can forget that, oh shit, I'm in VR. I'm playing Saints and Sinners and I've been killing zombies. That's what I've been doing for the past hour. So you can forget that. So it's crazy. That's sort of like the things that I always sort of look for in VR, for myself. Like that's the kind of experiences that I want. I want to see how is that technology continuously sort of moving forward and evolving.
And there's a game that just got a little bit of an update from the developers that we haven't heard about in a really long time, since the before 4 times pre-pandemic, and that is Space Pirate Arena. And it is pretty exciting.
Love that game.
So Space Pirate Trainer, everybody loves. It's the game where you just stand there and you're blasting everything. But the developers of Space Pirate Trainer have been working on for years now Space Pirate Arena, which is developed for the Quest and is a co-location 1v1 shooter that you play in a 10x10 space with your friend, and there's like environmental hazards and you run around in the halls, but you're in a big open space. And this kind of shit is like what I think we'll start to see in the more immediate future, as far as like where the technology is going, being able to kind of like share the same space in VR, and like we're both in that room, but we're also both in this room. The co-location thing to me is one of the most exciting potentials of the Quest. I know Skiva's been waiting for stuff like this since the very beginning.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I started that whole VR and AZ thing, the subreddit, because I saw this, right, and experiences like this, and I thought, well, shit, man, everyone's going to get together with their quests. I'm going to rent some places, some you know, maybe some basketball courts or venues of some kind, and we can all get together, and you know, it builds the environment in the real world environment that you're in, and then you run around with your own 2 feet. And you're shooting at your friends. And we did something like this also at VRX. I'm trying to remember the name of the experience, but the Space Pirate Trainer guys, you know, really nailed Space Pirate Trainer in that whole feeling. And I think bringing those mechanics into Space Pirate Arena is going to be absolutely massive. I mean, this looks just so freaking cool, man. It's
fun, dude.
It really does. I am so beyond stoked for this game. I don't know if you've heard of this.
It should be pretty. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, I don't know if you've heard of Space Pirate Arena or seen any of the footage. I mean, maybe you're seeing some of it now, but
I saw footage. I think Nathy had some footage on his YouTube page that I had seen, and I recall doing a piece, a VR Scout piece, and maybe it wasn't for Space Pirate Arena, but it was for something that Chicken Waffle had done. It was sort of similar, sort of like this location-based, sort of larger, sort of where all you really needed was like I say, a basketball court, or like even like a large room in your house or your garage, in creating a sort of world where you and someone else could sort of you know, battle or even collaborate, you know, through the levels. So it's definitely VR. I think it was like an F6 that I saw. I think it was Eva Leone. Are you familiar with Eva Leone? She's on Twitter. She has done some work with VR AR. But she had introduced me to this VR experience where we were all wearing Quests and in the same virtual world. It was really, really interesting, and it was limited at the time, but I'm sure it's grown to something much different now. But yeah, that's where I think, you know, where it gets really interesting.
Especially if we like are getting into an esports territory, right? Because then we're gonna have like athletes running around in an arena together. But it'll be VR, but it's kind of like AR, right? Because it's almost like reskinning the environment that they're in. You know, like we see a blank canvas, but they see walls and hallways and, you know, and all of that shit. So
you remember in
esports is huge, right? It's one of the biggest growing sports right now. So you know, and as it's moved into sort of education and training, I absolutely see VR sports, esports, you know, getting to the point where you have paid athletes. That's so keep playing those games, everyone. You could be
do you remember in Ready Player One, there was a scene where everyone's like running down the street with their headsets on, and I remember going,
I hated that scene.
How is that even a thing? But like then you look at something like Space Pirate Arena and you're like, oh, I get it now. You know what I mean? The reskinning of reality.
Yeah, that scene annoyed me though.
There you go.
Yeah, well, sure.
I was like,
a lot annoyed me in that movie.
Yeah, I was like, it would not work like this.
Right.
Like, it's so funny you brought that scene up. Like, anytime somebody talks about Ready Player One, that is the first scene that comes to mind. Is all these dipshits running around the street. It's like, what is this? Like, for real?
You know, for anyone that's watched that movie and not read the book, please go read the book, because the movie was a very small, smidgen of
I have not read the second. Yeah.
You haven't read what?
I don't know if you've read the second one yet, but
I have.
Part 2, Ready Player 2.
Yeah, it's it's meh. I'll tell you. You know, if you want a great book to really show you the future of what VR could be, with brain computer interfacing, especially because brain computer interfacing is a big part of Ready Player 2. We have someone who comes into our chat all the time that we've had on our show, named Gary Walkton. He's Reckoner VR, and he has created a book called The Memory Engine, and it is just absolutely phenomenal. It is way better than Ready Player 2, in my opinion. I wish I had a picture of it on here. I don't. But I mean, you definitely want to go pick up the Memory Engine and check this book out, because the technologies that he explores and the way he has envisioned the future and how all of these things work is really, really pretty awesome. And in my opinion, light years better than. Do
you agree with these Ready Player 2 sentiments?
I'll have to check that book out.
Bobby, do you agree with these Ready Player 2 sentiments? Did you read it? Did you like it?
I haven't read it, and honestly, the reason why I didn't read it was because I was worried for that exact sort of, like, I just was thinking, like, how do you follow up? Some stories don't need a follow up, and I just wasn't. I kind of put it on the back burner, and at this point, maybe I'll just avoid it altogether.
Yeah, sorry, in my humble opinion, they really tried to take the first book and kind of double what happens in it, cram it all into one story, and it just didn't. To me, it just, so many, halfway through the book, I'm like, is this over yet? It's just not. It's not up to par, man.
Link in the chat for the book, Memory Engine. All right.
Yes, the Memory Engine is phenomenal. The links in the what was his name that wrote Ready Player One? Ernest Cline. He has another book that I like almost just as much as the first one. I think it's called Armada. Is that right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but it's about a kid who plays video games, and he actually gets recruited. Like the video game was actually recruitment software, kind of like The Last Starfighter was kind of like that. That old movie. Yeah. So
it's such a great movie, by the way.
I know, right, dude? I know. That movie gave me hopes and dreams of someday having my own starship and being able to take off from this planet and go out and explore. And that actually kind of ended up happening thanks to VR, right? Because now we have freaking No Man's Sky. And that to me is very, very much like that whole concept, right? Where now I have my own spaceship. I have an unlimited universe that I can go and explore. Every planet is different. All the life forms are different. Everything. I mean, it is just, to me, it's almost the perfect game. And what a great segue, because this game just got a huge update called Prisms, and it completely revamps a lot of the graphics in this game and a lot of the things that this game procedurally generates and how everything looks. But also, one of the big deals is this game is very hard to run in VR. Every dollar I've put into my computer has really been to run No Man's Sky better. And just recently with this Prisms update, they introduced DLSS, which is like an artificial intelligent version of super sampling, right? Where it takes the graphics and it fills in frames, and it really boosts the hell out of the performance of this game. I am now able to run this game on ultra settings in virtual reality. Sadly, it's Bradley did an amazing video on a lot of the stuff with No Man's Sky.
Jesus,
yeah.
That's insane.
They've really brought this game to a new level, man, and they continually update this and make it better and better and better. I mean, this game's been out for like 5 years now. Yeah, 5 years, and it's like every 3 months they make it better.
Shitty launch too.
The worst launch in history. In history, I would say that No Man's Sky had the biggest botch launch of any game to ever come out. They got shit on by everyone, and you know what? They crawled into their cave and they turned this game into exactly what they said it was going to be, plus way more. And it is incredible. And if you tried this game in 2016 and put it aside, come back now, because it is fucking awesome. It is awesome, and I could live in this game and never come out. So I don't know.
I will have to jump in. I'll have to jump in and check it out.
Yeah, I would highly suggest you do. I know you have a lot of the same space obsession and stuff like that I do, and this really taps into that for me.
I am your typical space nerd. So yeah, absolutely. Anything to escape the real world, I'm okay with that.
Space is amazing. It is. I actually have a tattoo on my chest of the solar system planets. Y'all know that? Boom.
Oh, look at that.
There it is. That's the solar system right
look
there.
At that.
Yeah, we got planets on there. No big deal. A little skin on Between Realities today.
We should all get matching tattoos. We should all get like.
Let's do it.
Can we do that today?
The No Man's Sky logo on our foreheads. I'm sure Skiva would be down.
Don't even tempt me, man, because I love this game that much where I would actually consider putting that logo on me.
Paradise Decay, by the way, he said that The Last Starfighter is the movie that got him into video games.
Wow.
So I've never seen this shit, so maybe I should probably watch it.
You should. Now, it's obviously was done back in the 80s. It was the 80s or the early 90s. I think it was the late 80s, but oh my god, man.
80s,
yeah. So this, yeah, I mean, so it's the premise is just that there's an arcade machine in this trailer park, and this kid is just freaking phenomenal at this game, and this video game is actually a recruitment thing, you know, where they're looking for players that are people that can really fly these starships and help with this battle going on in space, and then they come down and get the guy, you know. So great movie, absolutely great movie.
That sounds like the movie that Jansen Fox mentioned, Ender's
cool
Game.
As hell. It's a cool ass looking spaceship.
Yeah,
so
it is. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I love Ender's Game too, Jansen. That game, that movie, like my jaw like hit the floor when I saw that movie. If you've never seen Ender's Game, and I guess it's a book too, so I don't know. Read the book or watch the movie. I think Ender's Game is awesome.
It is, and I think that's where they got all of their influence for
The Last Starfighter.
Just for Lone Echo and for Echo Arena.
Yeah, totally.
You know, they really
this Echo stuff. Arena absolutely is Ender's Game. Yeah. I can't play those type of games though. So I will tell you right now, I don't do well with certain games. Like I get VR sickness if I'm not physically able to. Like teleportation is huge for me to move around through virtual worlds. So if it's emulating this idea of walking or floating through something, I get deathly ill, which is a bummer because I want to play Pistol Whip. I want to play Pistol Whip so badly, but the first time I got in, I was dead.
Oh no!
Damn. So it hasn't gotten any easier for you over the years of VRing, or do you just typically avoid those experiences?
It hasn't. I've been avoiding them, but every so often, like, you know, again, I'll ask to sort of look at a VR experience, and I just don't. I just can't get beyond it for some reason. So if there's no teleportation, I'm done.
So do you?
For certain games, like, you know, I played Audio Trip, which is like Beat Saber.
Yeah.
But you're still standing, but the room is sort of like coming at you, like the sides of the walls are coming at you. And so I didn't get sick in that. But again, Pistol Whip, though, is just one of those as you're advancing forward.
It moves you. So I can understand that. Games, I feel like games like Beat Saber and things like that, where you are standing, the room is standing still, you are just standing there. There's nothing really happening that's bringing you anywhere, but things are coming to you. I feel like those experiences are more... are a lot easier for people to handle that do suffer from motion sickness. I have a question. Do you suffer from motion sickness in cars or boats or airplanes or anything like that?
No, I don't. I did when I was younger. I did suffer from vertigo. I actually had to get physical therapy for vertigo, so that was brutal. Having vertigo was one of the worst. I don't know if anybody in the chat's ever had vertigo, but I would suffer from it. Like, I remember my last massive vertigo attack was probably like 23 years ago. I got so sick that I actually forgot what my name was. Like, they rushed me to the hospital.
Wow.
It was really messed up.
Wow, that's no joke, man. That vertigo is no joke. I've had friends that suffer from that, and you know, when they have an attack, you got to put them on the couch and help them out. Yes. The world won't stop moving. It's a terrible, terrible thing, and that's interesting to hear that you used to have vertigo and you also experience motion sickness. I've always been really curious to what it is that causes. I mean, I know what causes motion sickness, right? When things happen to our body and it doesn't make sense to our body, our body thinks we were poisoned, right? That oh, I'm moving, but I'm not, right? I'm not feeling the movement. Right. I'm not feeling the G-forces. I'm not feeling, so I must be sick. Something must happen. I got to throw this stuff up and make myself better. But it's very interesting when people can't get their VR legs. Do you know what I mean? Because it's usually a training of your mind for your mind to understand that this is not an actual thing happening, and your brain starts to put 2 and 2 together. Okay, this isn't a real experience. This is something else, and it kind of leaves you alone, right? But a lot of times with people that can't get over car sickness and flying airplanes, I could definitely see that being a thing. I think motion sickness is a huge deal. We got to tackle this. You know, I was talking to someone yesterday and I'm, you know, asking them about VR, and they're like, oh, I've done VR a couple times and it made me so sick each time. And it's just such a bummer because people get VR poisoned right off the bat. Maybe they tried, you know, phone 3DOF VR.
They definitely tried a fucking roller coaster.
Yeah. You know, yeah.
That's what they tried.
Yeah. And that's again, and going back to that, what you know, with Ready Learner 1, right? Like sometimes you get a corporate company who's like, we're going to try VR, and of course they were like, we're going to do a VR roller coaster because that looks fun, and then they get sick, and all of a sudden they're like, we don't want to do VR training because we all get sick, and because they're not looking at the right experiences again, and for me, like again, teleporting is an easy solution for me. I could be, you know, walking around in alt space using teleporting, and I'm fine. If I were to switch over to the, you know, like the physical, like the walking, you know, the walking across the room mode, that's when I'll get really ill. I remember one time I was in the early days of alt space before teleporting. I was presenting in alt space, and I was like walking around, and I got so sick I had to leave my own session. And at that time I was talking to Annie Fidel, who was doing a lot. She does a lot of work in VR with Get Social. Like she had to sort of take over for me because I was just like brutally ill.
That sucks.
That does suck.
I hope that somebody cracks the code on this and lets you get into Pistol Whip, because it's a fun game and there's a lot of other experiences out there that you deserve to be in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do deserve to be in them.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, you deserve it.
Like,
out of curiosity,
Bobby Carlton.
out of curiosity, have you tried the cyber shoes?
So I have not tried cyber shoes. I've written about cyber shoes a few times. But I would help sort of, I think, eliminate that VR sickness and again, having that physical motion, right? As you had said earlier, it's that disconnect between what your inner ear, right, you know, that, you know, is experiencing, like, you know, your eyes are telling you you're walking, but your inner ear is saying like you're not walking, and then you kind of get you get this sickness.
Yeah.
And
I get curious about that. Like, will that help?
Physically,
you know,
help. I think it would. Yeah. I absolutely think it would.
Because I've seen, you know, I'm the community manager for Cyber Shoes. I do that, you know, part-time for those guys. I personally love their product, and I'm also all about trying to get people to get rid of their motion sickness, right? What can help with tricking your body into thinking, okay, everything's fine, I don't need to get sick, right? And some people have very, very positive effects from the cyber shoes eliminating their motion sickness, but some people don't, right? So I'm kind of curious.
I think it would. I do think that having cyber shoes, walking through those type of experiences would absolutely, you know, again, it's, for me, it'd be about having that, I'm missing that motion of physically moving my legs. I did see, it's funny, we talk about cyber shoes, I wrote about them like maybe 2 weeks ago, and someone had tweeted back to me like, oh, this would be great in sort of skateboarding experiences. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, yes. Like, imagine, you know, playing like Tony Hawk VR, you know, like a Tony Hawk skating experience, and you physically are pumping the skateboard, and, you know, you could, like, you know, pop an ollie, you know, based on sort of how your feet are touching the floor. So if there's anybody out there who can make that happen, please, I'm begging you,
since
make it
that's
happen.
Actually a pretty good idea, because with the skateboard, you could put a cyber shoe on one foot and you could still stand, right? And like be standing
and
then
Yeah.
kicking off of the other foot.
Oh my God.
Oh, maybe we can get the skater VR. Maybe we can get
That's
that
all
guy
done
to
with
help
the
us out.
hands.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I know,
with the hands.
but hey, maybe there could be a some
Cyber
kind
Shoot's
of
edition. Maybe he could remake his game for
right,
Cyber Shoot.
right, because it would just take a minute. You literally just copy and paste. It's all done. That's not true.
Paradise Decay. Have I tried any ginger products? I haven't. Maybe I should.
I know ginger definitely helps with
like
a lot of motion sickness things. So that's an interesting point. Paradise Decay.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think we should try to wrap this up.
Oh, right. Damn it.
I know it's
Damn it.
It's what happens.
How does this happen? How does time flow?
Because it's
Why
not,
is that a thing?
Because it doesn't. Because there is no such thing as a linear progression of time. There's just a single moment, and we're all in it, and everything's shifting around us, and we got to roll with the punches. And right now, the moment I think here is ending. So, Bobby Carlton, maybe you can give us some closing thoughts before we kick you off the ship.
Well, first of all, thank you guys very much for having me on the show. I had an awesome time, and I was super thrilled to be here. And I'd been talking about it leading up to this, and so thank you, and thanks to everybody in the chat. Closing thought is just like hey, as I said, VR. We are just at the very, very surface. No matter what people are going to say, no matter where we are in the evolution, we are at the very tippy top, and I think it's just going to go beyond that. And also, keep an open mind about space aliens and UFOs because, they exist. They live amongst us already, and they could be your next door neighbor. And of course, I am always more than willing to talk about any of this stuff on Twitter. So reach out to me there as well.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Bobby Carlton confirmed alien species living amongst the humans. Thank you for being, an extraterrestrial for our planet and acting as an ambassador for the alien species. We really appreciate that. You are a writer for VR Scout, everybody. Put the links below in the description for Twitter, VR Scout, Ready Learner 1, all of that shit. Please go and follow Bobby and engage with this guy because he's absolutely hilarious, and it's never been anything but a pleasure, sir. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, buddy. It was awesome.
Thank you as well.
All right, everybody, say goodbye to Bobby Carlton.
Bye, Bobby.
He's getting out of here. Testing.
Hello. Hey,
Hi, everybody.
Jeez. Well,
between technical difficulties. Welcome back.
Yes.
Next week on the show, we have the Emmy Award-winning Ricardo Laganaro.
Yes.
This dude is amazing. He is from Arvory Immersive Experiences, which is the Brazilian-based VR studio that has developed the Pixel Rip series. They also developed a short animated show, or experience, I guess, called The Line, or A Língua in Portuguese. And it won a fucking Emmy for Best Immersive VR Experience.
Yep.
And he's going to be on our show next week, and he's amazing. He's super smart. He's super nice. He's got a lot of amazing things to say about VR and the world, and we are so excited to have him. Thank you for being here and listening to the second time I've said all of this stuff, because the first time I was muted, because apparently Skiva, I don't know what he's doing over there. Like, I'm
fired again.
You think you can trust him, and then shit like this happens.
Cancel Skiva.
So anyway, cancel Skiva. We'll see you guys next Friday. Adios.
Bye again.